Hello guys, welcome here to another edition of Out of Turn 4. I'm Brian here. Wow, what a race weekend up at down at COTA this weekend. Oh my goodness. What a weekend in general. Of course, we'll be talking a lot about what happened, I'm sure. We'll be talking a little bit about what happened Sunday on Sunday Morning Tinkle, but we want to stick to the racing end of things. Let's start off, of course, we're going to start off by talking COTA. We have a little bit of news regarding the F1 schedule, I believe as early as 2023, and then of course we'll have our Richmond race picks. That's all coming your way, but let's start it off with NASCAR at Circuit of the Americas, and Zane Smith opened up the weekend with a thrilling race victory, to say the least. He wins in a wild overtime, his second win of the year. Of course, that overtime saw Stuart Friesen, Alex Bowman, and Kyle Busch go three wide door to door, open the door for Zane, who swept the stages, and he went on to get the victory, his second of the season. And Kyle, of course, frustrated with Alex Bowman as expected, but this is Zane Smith's second win of the year, and that move to front row has certainly benefited them. And Front Row Motorsports has built some really good road course trucks, as you can tell. I mean, they at least have mastered COTA, which is great. And good for Zane Smith. Again, he's the guy I think could honestly. He's in the middle of a breakout season, but without question, wins like this will certainly put him on the radar in terms of what Xfinity teams might want him in the future. Of course, I'm looking ahead to 2023, and of course, this will look good as we get into the playoffs and so on. But a thrilling race nonetheless. Into the second race on Saturday, AJ Allmendinger won the race at COTA. Of course, it's his first win this season. Shouldn't come as a surprise. Of course, he is the best road course racer in the NASCAR Xfinity Series right now. And Kaulig Racing just has it all figured out. And let me tell you something, I love watching Chris Rice celebrate. It may be just as entertaining as AJ Allmendinger. Let's just put it that way. Oh, man. So, thumbs up. Great work by the Kaulig Racing team to open up the weekend strong. Of course, they almost went 2 for 2. And here's where we're going to take a little bit of time to break down the race here. But Ross Chastain, that's right, the Melon Man has finally broken out. By the way, should I just point out to the camera? Sorry, I've got to put that up there. I got my Melon Man shirt on. Of course, I've met Ross Chastain. Just a little backstory before I tell you. I met Ross Chastain at Watkins Glen back in 2019. Let me actually see if I can find the photo. I know I got it. So I have met Ross Chastain. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I don't want to take up too much time, but there it is. Back when I was a little bit heavier, but yeah, I met Ross Chastain. That was at Watkins Glen, July 2019, the week leading up to the Watkins Glen race. So, just thought I'd show that off. And who thought 3 years later I would be talking about Ross Chastain being a winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. Congratulations to him. His first win. It is Trackhouse Racing's first win on Justin Marks' birthday weekend, nonetheless. This is also Ross Chastain's, I believe, first victory in the top 3 series in a few years. And let me put it this way. This proves exactly why I've said for years, and the analysts have said for years, that Ross Chastain deserves to be in a top ride in the NASCAR Cup Series because he is that talented. And it just showed there. And of course, you know, many people were not happy, as you could expect, with that move. And I don't blame them, quite frankly. But I will break it down, of course. AJ Allmendinger took the lead on a bump. He bumped Chastain out of the way to get the race lead on the final lap. That, of course, opened the door for Alex Bowman as well to take second, or attempt to take second. These three were essentially under a blanket. And then, of course, going into the final two turns, Ross Chastain repaid the favor. He pushed AJ Allmendinger out to the lead and then pushed him well out of the racing groove, to which AJ Allmendinger went spinning, or he hit Alex Bowman and then spun out. And then Alex Bowman almost got caught in the sand trap as well. AJ Allmendinger would go on to finish 33rd, while Alex Bowman, who missed the sand trap, would go on to finish second in the race to Ross. Of course, I had no problem with AJ Allmendinger racing aggressive, and I certainly... Here's the thing. What Ross did wasn't right, but this is a product, of course, as Denny Hamlin stated on Twitter, this is a product of NASCAR racing now. This is just a product of that racing, as expected. That's what comes with the playoffs. But Ross Chastain's been knocking on the door the last 2 weeks. Did you really think he was going to settle for second again and just say, I concede? No, I didn't think so. And you'd be a fool to believe that he would just roll over and say, I don't care. I'll take second. Good day for us. But, of course, AJ probably wouldn't have spun if it wasn't for Alex Bowman out there. Chances are maybe Allmendinger would have gone wide, but that late into the corner, I just don't know if he would have rebounded for the win. But he probably could have came home third had it not been for Alex Bowman being to his outside. I don't know. That's just my thought. Of course, you can let me know your thoughts. But again, I didn't see anything wrong with how... I didn't quite see what was wrong with Ross Chastain racing that aggressive. What I did see a little bit, what I think I'm a little more annoyed about... Again, you guys know me. I love Kaulig racing. I also like Ross Chastain. So this is really kind of one of those races where I'm like, jeez, what the hell? Come on. But, this might put a strain on that relationship. Of course, I should say that Ross Chastain drove for Kaulig Racing a few years ago. Of course, he drove back in 2020, I believe, for the team. So that will certainly put a strain on that relationship, Ross Chastain to Matt Kaulig. And of course, AJ Allmendinger and Ross Chastain, former teammates in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. That might also put a strain on that friendship. Of course, AJ really declined to comment. If you watched the post-race show, of course, AJ Allmendinger said it doesn't matter if he's okay with Ross Chastain's move. Of course, AJ handled it with class. Now, Kyle Busch, you can take notes on this. Alex Bowman, he went out of the way to say, I would have done the same thing as Ross Chastain, and actually offered a little bit of advice and told Ross Chastain, hey, put any quotes that they say about you on a t-shirt and sell the hell out of it. Classic Alex Bowman. But, hey, again, it's the product of racing for a championship now. It's the product of what NASCAR created. And can I just say, NASCAR at COTA is the best Texas race right now. The best one across the whole boards, with the exception of maybe the American GP for F1, because I know there's a lot of people that love watching Follow the Leader. But ultimately, in terms of American auto racing, this is the best show in Texas, okay? Not the All-Star race, not the AAA or O'Reilly 500, whatever the hell that race is called now. Who cares anyway? It's a waste of a playoff spot. And then, of course, better than the XPEL 375 as well. So, man, if we could get racing, or like I said, COTA ultimately this weekend, in my opinion, just became the premier Texas track. Okay? Like, if it wasn't a no shit sort of thing before, it's automatic now based on the racing this weekend. COTA is the gem of Texas in terms of auto racing at this moment. And if you disagree, you clearly need to go back and watch the last few Texas Oval races, of course. I will warn you, you might not want to, or you may want to take some coffee in. Of course, you may want to drink a lot of coffee. Maybe some energy drinks. Be prepared. Alright, on to the news. Man, this is going to be a short episode. We don't have much news, of course. Keep in mind, we're still early into the racing season, so we won't generally have a whole lot of news on this show. And a whole lot to recap. But the Vegas Grand Prix, this has been rumored for a few weeks. According to Adam Stern, it will be confirmed as the third American race on Wednesday by Formula One. Of course, the other two races are at COTA and Miami this year. So now the grand total is up to 3 races in the U.S. So it looks like F1 is taking a serious all-in approach. Yes, that's a Vegas reference. All-in approach on the U.S., which is great to see, especially after dropping the Russian Grand Prix. Again, I'm not a fan of F1. I probably never will be a fan of F1, but good to see them expanding into the U.S. and especially trying new things. That's what I think is very impressive. Of course, Nascar is starting to dive into the new stuff, but they are really diving all in on America right now. And, as much as I hate to say it, it may become America's top auto racing series if it keeps going. I mean, because COTA this year was no pushover race. And then, of course, I imagine Miami will be sold out. What was the race? I think it was Australia I read that sold out. One of their races that they just posted tickets for sold out. So F1 is growing, and substantially. So this should be worrisome for NASCAR, for IndyCar. They need to do something. They need to jump on this now and make some big changes. For one, of course, again, IndyCar could do some more ovals. They may, chances are NASCAR might have to expand into the international market now. Because, you need to take the crowd. Like I said, there weren't races in America until just recently for F1. So think about it like NFL in London. And I hate NFL in London, but the fans love it because they don't see it so often, okay? Maybe NASCAR expands with the Cup Series, and hear me out, into Canada for a race. Maybe they expand out into Mexico for a race, of course. Daniel Suarez would have a home race. I'm just considering that. Same with IndyCar. IndyCar should race in Mexico. Okay, they should race at the same track F1 races at. And you want to know what? Again, Pato O'Ward, hometown hero. This would draw ratings. This would draw fans. Okay, expand in North America. And hey, why not while you're at it? Look at the potential for an overseas race. Your racing costs are low compared to F1. Yes, you gotta pay to ship cars out there, but again, something you can explore in the distant future. Take advantage of it. Race in markets you normally wouldn't race in, essentially, and try to draw a crowd, because this is what F1's doing in the US, and I guarantee you, the second that these Vegas tickets are posted, they're gonna go quick, okay? So again, it wouldn't hurt NASCAR to explore new markets. It wouldn't hurt IndyCar to explore out of the U.S. markets and other markets in general. You know, especially with their diverse IndyCar lineup. You know, again, that's just the only thing I can take from this, because F1 is growing in the U.S. because now there's 3 races over here out of, I believe, 23 or 24 that they run every single year. So I hope NASCAR and IndyCar are looking at this and saying, maybe we should look into expanding into another market. Because if F1 can do it and gain such growth in the U.S., maybe we can gain that kind of growth in another country as well. And again, I know the old timers won't like hearing that. I know, IndyCar fans more than likely might like hearing that. So, I don't know. But I know the NASCAR stubborn fans won't like it. So, but again, just a proposal, to say the least. All right, let's move on to the picks for next weekend for the Xfinity at Richmond. I'm sticking with the guy that won me $60 this week. Yes, I bet on FanDuel this week. And just before actually I make my picks, so I bet AJ Allmendinger would win, won $60 on the NASCAR Xfinity race. And you'll never believe this. I bet on Ross Chastain to win the Cup race. I bet $5, won 110. Good day, or good weekend, needless to say. So anyway, Xfinity Series at Richmond. I'm going AJ Allmendinger. Again, a track that suits his style. We start off the Dash for Cash this weekend. You can bet he's going to be aggressive to try to get that 100K. And then, of course, we go for the Cup Series at Richmond, and this seems like a Martin Truex kind of race again. Martin Truex, these types of tracks, has really shown his strength lately, so I gotta go with him in terms of the victory. Alright, that's all I got. Yeah, short episode, guys, I'm sorry. But I do want to thank you all for watching. Be sure to tune in to No Final Bell tomorrow. That is at 5 p.m. Eastern, here or over on YouTube. And then, of course, if you're on YouTube, be sure to tune in Sunday as well to Sunday Morning Tinkle. We'll be talking, I'm sure, a lot more NFL news. And, of course, we'll be talking the Final Four. Can you believe it? We've already made it to the Final Four. But you won't want to miss this. But anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see you later in the week. Until then, goodbye, everyone.